Hey everybody, I had to come on. I worked a little while today at the hotel and I got up early this morning and was reading my Bible and I was in Second Kings chapter 9. If you watched my video last night about don't go near the wall or I think I asked the question, why did you go near the wall? You know better than going to the wall. I was in that was in Second Samuel chapter 11. Well, today I was in Second Kings chapter 9, and lo and behold, I'm reading the story of Jezebel, and Jezebel was up in her window, and they getting tired of this woman, so they decided to throw her out of the window. And I was reading the passage, and it said that the dogs were going to eat her. They wouldn't even have to bury her bury her, and the dogs would eat her. But as she fell from that window, it says the blood splattered against the wall. And that just, I thought that was wow. You know, that was a small detail. Why would it be there? And I was like, but it just jumped out at me again. And there's that wall again. And I wanted to tie that in to the message I had last night. So if you will go back, if you haven't watched the one before on why did you go near the wall, I just recorded it and had it online last night. It's on Facebook and on YouTube. But I wanted to tie in how that blood splattered on the wall when Jezebel fell down. So it's a very real, powerful connection between Jezebel's death in Second Kings chapter 9 and this passage. Don't get in that passage, don't get too close to the wall. At the moment I said that her blood splattered, I just knew that had something in that we could tie in to that same message. So I wanted to show you the connection tonight with some clarity and some depth and maybe a little revelation, because I immediately went into research on this, and um, I didn't want to force anything and I didn't want to stretch it, but I do believe there's a good tie in to this story. So Jezebel's story is the opposite side of the same warning. In Samuel, the warning is don't go near the wall. Why would you even go near the wall? Because the wall is where people die. It's where the enemy has the advantage. It's where you're exposed and you're vulnerable. And then in Second Kings chapter 9, Jezebel was thrown down from a window in the wall. So she's actually coming, down from the top of the wall, and her blood splatters on the wall. So it's the same thing, but from the other side of it. The wall is where judgment happens. The wall is where consequences fall. The wall is where pride meets reality. David's men died at the wall. Jezebel died at the wall. Two different stories, and it's the same spiritual principle. Jezebel's death shows what happens when you live at the wall. In the other scripture, they got too close to the wall and they died. Well, she's living, literally living in the wall. So she lived there her whole life. She was always manipulating and controlling and resisting God, elevating herself, and she was operating in pride, staying in high places. So where does she die? At the wall, at the window, at the place of elevation that she trusted. The very thing she used to look down on others became the place she fell from. Come on now. This ties directly to the message that I gave last night. The wall is not just a place of danger, it's a place of downfall for those who refuse to move. She refused. Jezebel's blood on the wall is symbolic. Her blood hitting the wall represents the end of manipulation, the end of intimidation, the end of control, the end of spiritual oppression, the end of a toxic system, the end of a generational pattern. The wall becomes the place where God says, this stops here. And in the message, the wall was a place of danger. The other message of David. In Jezebel's story, the wall becomes the place of ending. Both are warnings, both are boundaries, both are places where God draws a line. And this connection, the connection for the teaching in this is the wall is where things die, either your destiny or your enemy. In David's story, destiny is threatened at the wall. In Jezebel's story, demonic influence is ended at the wall. So the message becomes don't get too close to the wall, because the wall is where things fall. The wall is where people die. The wall is where pride collapses. The wall is where God brings things to an end. It's a powerful prophetic thread. The deeper revelation in this to me is Jezebel's story adds a second layer to this teaching that we just went through. The wall is a place of exposure. At the wall, David's sin was exposed. And at the wall, Jezebel's pride was exposed. Uriah's loyalty was exposed. Joab's strategy was exposed. Ahab's weakness was exposed. The wall reveals what's really happening. So um, don't go near the wall, because the wall exposes what you're trying to hide. David was trying to hide the fact that he set it up for Uriah to be killed. So we can tie this um, in 2 Samuel chapter 11. The wall was where David's men died. In 2 Kings chapter 9, the wall was where Jezebel died. The wall is always a place of danger, a place where something falls. So don't get too close to the wall. Or it can mean the wall is where God ends things, either your assignment or your enemy. So stay away from the wall. The wall is where pride falls, where sin is exposed, and where consequences hit hard. Don't go near the wall. And that's just what I wanted to share with you. Just bring it up briefly to you tonight, just to tie in the message from last night. I just thought it was interesting. Another twist, another take, another connection to the wall. I believe God is saying to us, don't go near the wall. Don't go near the enemy. And where you know he's at, where you know he's sitting, where you know he's watching, you know he's waiting. And he is waiting for you to fall. He's waiting for you to mess up. He knows your weaknesses, and he's just sitting there ready. Stay away from it. Stay far from it. The best way to do that is to abide in him and let him abide in you. You can just ask whatever you want to in his name, and it will be done. I hope that was just a little blessing to you. And it was very interesting to me, and I was excited to read that this morning. I'm enjoying reading his word and getting new nuggets, new things that he can speak to me about. And he's answering my prayer. I've asked him to speak to me. I've asked him to just make his word real and alive to me, and he's doing that, and I'm grateful for that. The Lord bless you. May he put his hand upon you. May you have his peace. May you have his presence. May you walk near him, walk with him, and don't you go near that wall.